Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Putri Permatasari, and right now I would like to present about the comparative literature between Margaret Atwood's novel, The Handmaid's Tale, and Cho Nam-ju's novel, Kim Ji-young, born in 1982. Okay, so let's start from the background of the novel. The Handmaid's Tale, published in 1985, and is literary work of fiction in the form of novel by Canadian author Margaret Atwood, whose work mostly deal with the idea of women as they exist in the world of nature and nurture. And she brings up the themes of subjugated women in patriarchal society, loss of female agency and individuality, and the various ways they resist and attempt to gain individuality and independence through this novel. And this novel was published between the second and third wave feminism, with one of the focus on sexuality and reproductive rights. Next, the background from the novel Kim Ji-young. It was published in 2016, and it was written by the current author Cho Nam-ju, whose works likewise deal with women's fight against patriarchal society's inequalities. She portrays the worries of workplace harassment and discrimination experienced by many silent women, who, even after trying to fulfill all societal expectations, and his novel was published concurrently with the rise of the Me Too movement in 2016 and focused on bodily autonomy. Next, the writer. Margaret Atwoods, the writer from The Handmaid's Tale, or whose full name is Margaret Eleanor Wood. She was born in Ottawa, Canada on November 18, 1939, and she is most known for her prose fiction and her feminism. And the majority of her writings are geared toward young adult communities and primarily reflect the perspective of women. Atwood, she explored the human behavior, appreciate the natural environment, and criticize consumerism in her early poetry books, such as Double Respawn, The Circle Game, and The Animal in That Country. And we can see that in all of her stories, which are centered on women looking for their relationship to the outside world and the people. And the Handmaid's Tale itself is constructed around the written record of a woman living in sexual slavery in a repressive Christian theocracy of the future that has seized power in the wake of an ecological upheaval. Okay, next. Cho Nam-ju is the writer from the Kim Ji-young born 1982 novel, and she is a former television scriptwriter, and she was born in Seoul, South Korea, in 1978. The majority of her books, such as Kim Ji-young born 1982, Her Name Is in 2018, and Saha Mention, are the trip are geared toward young adult audiences and incorporate elements of her personal experience as working mother who left her job to remain at home with her newborn child. And her novel have sold millions of copies and been translated into 18 languages and even won the 2020 National Book Award. Okay, next. The synopsis from the Handmaid's Tale novel is set in a near future New England and in strongly patriarchal totalitarian theonomic state known as Republic of Gilead, which has thrown the US government. And the central character and narrator is a woman named Opret and one of the group known as Handmaids, who is stripped of her office job and forcibly assigned to produce children for the commanders, the ruling class of men in Gilead. And Kim Jong novel also tells the story of the central character Kim Jong, who has to resign herself from office because she is pressured to marry and become a giving birth mother. And these stories have sparked interest in me as the writer of this is a feminist myself. And we can see that Margaret Atwood's is a Canadian and Namjoon is Korean. From from these authors, from the novel, share a similar feminist viewpoint, and the feminist movements of their respective years serve as inspiration for both of their works. Atwood was inspired by the second wave feminism, and Namjoon was inspired by Me Too movement. Okay, the analysis from these two novel, we can see that first, both writers use satirical feminist language in their writing. So when a writer chooses to center and depict the perspective of women in patriarchal countries, they are using a feminist satirical tone, and this allows society to become aware of the harm and suffering they have created by reading and viewing the illustration. And the author of the Handmaid's Tale made the choice to incorporate the pressure from the brainwashing group to carry out the ritual of forced impregnation. And this kind of pressure to be a mother is also mentioned by the author in Kim Jeong, born 1982, by using this feminist satirical tone. And these two stories open up the discussion about how much society's ignorance toward the pain has long considered women just be a baby factory to unwanted product. Second, the main character from each book is a woman. Uh, from the Handmaid's Tale, the main character of Red, and from the Kim Cheong, the main character is Kim Cheong. Even if discrimination does exist in feminism, there are many other spectrum to which can occur, adding layers to the severity of the discrimination. Gender, character, qualities, age, race, education, the economy, and the socio-political environment are all included. And because they gave the characters the same origin as them, the authors of these two novels did not emphasize the character racial background. And because it is revealed in the book that Alfred is Canadian during the conflict between New England and US, uh, Alfred is portrayed as Canadian and in the Handmaid's Tale in the same way as Edward. In Jeong novel, the main character, Kim Jeong, is Korean like her author, Cho Namju, and because the story is also based on her own experience and Korean society. Okay. Third, the mature character of both stories are flashback to the beginning of the indoctrination that women have to be sexual machine for men against their own will, and that both men began to accept it as a normal thing because they knew every woman did it. Four, the main character in both stories discuss the dreams they are forced to give up due to patriarchal expectation. Five, the two main characters, Alfred and Jeong, both have severe mental illness. Alfred is depressed and suicidal after witnessing a lot of brutal killing for the captured resistant members and the maid who was trying to flee. And Jeong has psychosis after hearing people loudly judge her on occasion. Six, both novels have the non-feminist woman that helps perpetuate the patriarchal culture of oppression. And in Edward novels, it is Madame Serena Joy, and in Namjoon's novel, it is a grandma favoritism toward men and the woman teacher that gave chance for internship to the boys despite the girls were smarter. Okay. Next, the differences from both novels. The of the main character, Alfred, from Edward's novel, was brainwashed by completing assignment at the education center. Actually, it's more of routine where you read them a few Bible first and then have them to do it so they never run out of commanders. However, Kim Ji-young from Namjoon's novel was indoctrinated by her grandma's parenting style, her teacher preference, her employers, as well as society, because like all of which were strongly in favor of men. Second, in related to dream, they have to sacrifice, and in Atwoods, the main character of Red was stripped of her job, her saving was transferred and closed. And in Namju novel, the main character Kim Ji-young, she resigned herself because she was expected to be a mother, and the company cost woman taxing for they have to have pregnancy leaves and that they would not have a chance to long hire contract or to climb up the ladder. Yet society will judge her mama or lazy wife if she only becomes a full-time mother. Last conclusion, both novels have the elements required for comparison. And both stories are set in two spirit nations on two different continents, yet they share the same premise. Critique the patriarchal tyranny exists and has a genuine widespread impact. The portrayal of the main character underlines how much pressure and fixation patriarchal culture has placed on telling women what to do and that they are never enough for society expectation even when they do fulfill a societal expectation. And despite all of that, this book also demonstrates a different method through which indoctrination occurs and is maintained. And we shouldn't continue to do as a progressive society, not only choosing workers based on gender and not meritocracy is harmful toward the development of the companies, but it is also harmful for societies as mentally damaged person is never going to give his or her full potential. Hence, we will suffer from stagnation. Okay, it's it's enough for me. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.